CXs must start thinking like CFOs. So ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to say boys and girls, but yes, you are. Welcome to the CX Roundtable, where we have discussions on how we can always make CX better for organizations, for businesses, and everywhere else. So today we want to talk about intelligent CX. In this age where we are seeing technology, the advent of technology, and how it's been infused to CX, we really want to see where is the balance. In fact, our subject is balance in tech and humanity. So welcome. I'm joined by two amazing guests. On my right, I have Kavin Barathi, Rihanna Group, and on my left, I have Claire Munene from Ajua. In fact, behind the scenes, we're just talking about Ajua and what it is about. But hey, my guests, I want to start by asking you to kindly introduce yourself to the people. Maybe you could say, apart from the name, a little bit of context of what you do, then we can get started with the conversation. Can I start with the lady now?
Of course.
Excellent. So Claire, over to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Maina. What do I do? So I work at Ajua as the CXO, Customer Experience Officer. And what that is being responsible for the end-to-end processes for our customers.
Yeah.
We're a customer experience company. We offer software as a service as a platform, but we have other complementary offerings in the areas of training, consulting, and the like, as well as process design.
Oh.
So that's what I pretty much do in a nutshell.
Okay. I know Ajua is a game.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Kevin.
From Rihanna Group. And Rihanna Group is a tech solutions company based out of Nairobi. And we're into different verticals. We have the CX side. We do have the digital transformation side when it comes to real estate and infrastructure as well. We also have an area or a wing where SaaS plays a role in the CX side, but more along the lines of bringing in a combination of hardware and software. It's not just training or consultation, or not just maybe putting out systems in place, but trying to build something that is very curated for a business environment. I think that's what we do when it comes to the CX space. And this is handled by a subsidiary called Q-SYS.
Okay.
So Q-SYS is what I'm a part of, and I head the division there.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. Well, I don't have a very defined job, but I kind of manage the show in a way.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. No, that's a good one. I remember you talked about Q-SYS in Kisumu when
Yes.
we had the CX conference.
Yes.
Great. Let's go and start over with the definitions for the sake of the ones who could be probably hearing some of these things for the first time. And Claire, maybe you could help us with defining, when we talk about intelligent CX, what does it mean to you in practice?
We start first with a broad definition of what intelligent CX is. And it's pretty much artificial intelligence implemented that allows you to be able to access the future attitudes and behaviors of customers for economic gain.
Yeah.
What is economic benefit? I mean, you're pretty much looking at revenue growth, usage, as well as retention. That's the core. Against that background, then when you ask then what exactly it is in terms of application, then you look at it's being proactive versus traditional, which is more reactive.
Yeah.
It's working out of silos and integrating a single experience across all channels. So it's an omni-channel approach. And I think it's also focusing more on looking at the repetitive tasks and assigning those for artificial intelligence assistance as opposed to the core humanistic tasks or values or engagement that now become the core for the individual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's quite something.
And she's already set the bar quite high.
No, Kevin, I'm going to bring it
I
to you.
love it, and it's where I am right now. So.
I know. And Kevin, I would like as well to hear from your end what it means to you and probably what you can talk about from these buzzwords we've had to meaningful transformation. But before you give that context, I just wanted to bring in some color. Sometimes we have seen a lot of it being integrated, and you're guilty of that, which is good. It's in a good way. And sometimes you're wondering, am I talking to someone or something? And there's that human touch. We're saying we want to balance, but let's still stick to the definitions. What's your take on this, especially with just differentiating these buzzwords and ensuring that we have meaningful transformation in CX?
I think if I have to break it down in a very simple understanding, anything, any system, any application that can make a smart decision for you on a consistent basis is intelligence. That's it. And we all have a best employee in our organization. Everybody has it. Like the one Mr. Goody Tissue who is able to churn out brilliant ideas or decisions on an odd day. He's good at that. But intelligent CX is something that can do that on a daily basis. And if I have to give a simple narrative or an analogy to it, it's like you could have a brilliant engine, a beautiful one under the hood, but it's only as good as the engine unless the driver knows where he or she is supposed to go. You get where I'm coming from? It's CX, intelligent CX is like the navigation system to a very, very good car.
Okay.
If your navigation system can tell you that there's a jam up ahead in 15 minutes, you reroute this way and go back to wherever you're going. That's intelligent CX. Just having a good car doesn't make sense. Unless you have good CX, intelligent CX. I think that's to me a definition of how I would put intelligent CX as, because the buzzwords are there. Digital transformation, AI, automation, etc., all that is there. But the simplest of things if done right in a very nice, consistent manner, I think can yield a lot of positive results there.
Wow. Let me now bring it in to what I would call adoption. We have seen, constantly this has been conversations. Even in our conference, we had such conversations as well. And the numbers are growing. I think actually the latest one, research shows that about 8% of organizations have fully integrated intelligent CX. But when you look at the number, 8%, you would think by now we should be hitting the 30s, 40s, and the speed should be higher, especially now that AI is our everyday conversation. Claire, I don't know why. Why are we not seeing super fast numbers coming up?
Okay. I think there are very, very many reasons, and they differ from organization to organization. But there are a few key thematic ones that are consistent and constant across most, if I can put it that way. I think the first one I would pick, which I'm sure you are all aware of, is just the fear. The fear that AI is going to take away jobs. People are going to lose their jobs. And out of that fear, then comes this resistance, if I can call it that. So even when you go into an organization where they would want to adopt it from top down, then it's resisted. So then that becomes a barrier or a challenge, to full implementation. I think one that you alluded to earlier was relating to technology. And when he talked about the car, I thought about it. The car, it is a thing, but it runs every day because it is a system. And so I look at intelligent CX as a system, a program. It's not a thing you put and walk away. And that's where people get lost sometimes. They think they will fix in some technology somewhere and walk away and it will work. So what ends up happening, it's not in use, it's not used. You fixed a box, but it's not a box. It was a tool to help you run a program. It works with processes, with data, and a whole lot of things. I would say the other one would be, aside from the fear, aside from putting in boxes and that kind of thing, is probably the misunderstanding. Lack of knowledge on the requirement to drive that kind of a program. It has a very clear, steady path that starts from understanding touch points. If you work in a siloed environment, then delivering it will become a non-entity. Why? Because it relies on integrated data points to be able to deliver its benefit.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've said some very critical things, especially the fear part, and also just the knowledge of integration as well is a challenge. But anyway, Kevin normally helps us with those kind of things. So that's why you need him here.
Yes,
But
that's
Kevin,
it.
I think some of the things that we've had, the technology itself is not easy to bring it in. What I also pick, I mean, where there's fear, it means there's need for proper leadership, that will probably strengthen that.
Yeah.
But I'm also seeing the buying in as well as something else that has made the numbers be this low. And probably also customer readiness. I don't know, from what you see, all these barriers that you see, what's your biggest and what do you see? And maybe solutions to what we can do to
I
this.
think I'm going to be a bit
Yeah.
pessimistic on this, and I'm going to say I'll start with leadership.
Okay.
CX is still maybe considered as a nice to have, maybe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would still put it as a PR stunt. We're rolling out a beautiful app. We're rolling out this system. But leadership is about making sure that these so-called pilots
Yeah.
are not just pilots and they go the distance. And that's where I think, as she mentioned, take it all the way through. Don't put it in and then drop out. Let these systems do what they're supposed to do, because I can think at the top of my mind, there's a very interesting quote, or should I say a saying from Aristotle. When human beings do something repeatedly, it is not about doing it once, whether he can or she can. When done repeatedly, it becomes a habit. So the biggest challenge I see when it comes to adoption is firstly leadership, and I'll bring out the point of the fear element as well. Fear, I would say, in different ways, not just in AI replacing jobs. I wouldn't just put it that way, but there's a fear around the cultural element. There's a fear around the politics, the bureaucracy, and everything that revolves around even a workplace.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into play there. And if you ask me in terms of the adoption, why are we still far behind? I would say we've still not read our ecosystem well enough to know what would suit best in our environment. I think I spoke about this in Kisumu as well. You can have the best solutions brought in from the best places in the world and try and put them here. I can tell you, in 6 to 18 months, that system will shut down and you throw it away in the corner, right there.
Yeah.
It's not about you trying to replicate what's done somewhere else. It's about you being able to find out what works best for you here because you're operating here.
Yeah.
Yes.
M-Pesa, the best mobile platform that was launched way, way back, as against where you heard of this company called Ant Global from China?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They can do credit check in 3 seconds and disperse a loan to you in 8 seconds. M-Pesa started way before Ant did.
Yes.
You're right.
But then Ant is at a stage in China where it can disperse actually a loan in 8 seconds. It checks your credit worthiness in 3, disperses in 8. So
That's
the
fast.
the idea behind adopting a solution should favor your localization, should favor your culture, should favor what you're trying to achieve from where you are, not where it has worked. It is yet to work where you are.
Yeah.
So try and curate something that works for you within your space first. It has to start at baby steps, and leadership has to incentivize this, make it a process that's a mandate, make it something that's part of the culture of the organization and the practices that are there. And only then I think it would yield consistent results. And in CX, one thing that I've learned, I'm not maybe a full-fledged CX person.
Yeah.
I'm more of a digital transformation guy. I've worked in different industries before, and it's always been customer-centric,
Okay.
Yeah.
but on the digital transformation side. So what I've learned is anything in CX will not work if it's not consistent. So that I think is my biggest flaw that I see. Leadership not being able to adopt something beyond a pilot.
Okay. That's why we brought you here, because you're the techie guys who are giving us this, and we have the CX side of things, the human side, to just look for this balance. And Claire, you've heard him speaking about some of the challenges and what, I wanted you to bring in your personal experience, because you have also, in a way, you're probably, I don't know what stage you're in or what stage you would tell yourself you're at in terms of adoption, but any one-time solution that you think that you have probably used in your organization or you have observed another organization do that can be, our viewers can probably as well take up?
So I'll start by saying I have the benefit, the blessing of at this point in time being a service provider. So I am a vendor. So in that sense, what it does allow you to do is see different stages of the delivery of it.
Okay.
And then we have the added advantage that the technology we use, we are not starting from building blocks.
Okay.
That we have been able to partner with a global player who's been doing it for over the last 15 years.
Okay.
And so we don't need to go through the mistakes, and they're there to hold our hand pretty much.
Okay.
Then when I look from implementation, I think the highest, like you alluded to earlier, has been experimentation. That's where we've been heaviest at in this market.
Yeah.
And so the more mature deliveries have been in the European market. So we've not directly, as Ajua, done them. So we see ourselves more in the experimentation to entry level, I would say. And what does that mean? Working with customers to, number one, first of all, be able to identify what are those key opportunities they would like to explore, or their strategic key direction, or key business challenges or problems they would like to solve, and then understanding their journeys, their touch point journeys, to be able to use artificial intelligence to solve those problems. And like Kevin said, when you come to experimentation, many people think you come and put in a fully fledged solution and run, but I since learned that's not the case. You start from the objective. What are we trying to solve? There have been instances where we've sat with, I think, 1 or 2 customers and said, you don't need intelligent CX now. You have so much more to exploit.
That's so true.
You don't need it.
You go talk to them about a basic feedback. Just a feedback collecting mechanism or a tool, and they'll talk about a whole AI-driven CRM. I'm like, you don't even have this in place. What are you talking about that?
Thank you.
So, but they want to adopt that fast. They want to skip that step 3, 4 and get to 9, 10 quickly.
Which won't work.
Which will not work because you're not addressing the gaps of where the problem actually starts from. If your feedback collection is good, now you start cross-mapping that with maybe other cross-functional teams, departments, data sets, and then try and bring all together in one space and then try and deliver a holistic answer. But if this is incorrect, this by default is going to be 2x, 3x incorrect.
I love this. I like the context. And I'm going to bring in, Kevin, the people versus process conversation. Some people have had resistance in adoption because they feel this is crazy. More like the days of computers. Do you remember that day when we used to have those, and there was a lot of resistance, what's happening here? And we are seeing all these technologies that are coming up, especially to bring in the intelligent CX. So I wanted to ask you, Kevin, how do we ensure that, all these investments in AI, automation, are not burdening employees and frontline staff?
I think because we're talking about intelligent, and I repeat, intelligent CX. Anything that we do, we have a set goal, right? Say maybe to reach that goal, we have X steps, correct? We need to get to X number of steps to reach that goal. Now, a business or an organization adopting an intelligent system to automate anything should ensure that the objective to get to that goal does not exceed X plus 1 or does not get to X plus 1 steps. So intelligent CX is all but trying to get it to X minus 1.
Okay.
Even 1 is enough. So if you're going to increase one extra step in, let's say, data entry for a staff, or instead of 2 steps of billing, you make it 3 steps of billing process. You increase a step by 1. Your system is no more intelligent.
Okay.
It has to be X minus 1
Okay.
all the way. And I think that is people versus process. If you increase the steps, if you complicate it,
Yes.
people are not going to like it.
Oh.
But if you make it simpler,
Yeah.
you make it shorter, easier, people will adopt it. Any change, there's going to be resistance. Let's all agree to that.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
and I, anybody here will agree that change is something that we don't like. We're used to something. We don't like change for sure.
Yeah.
But it takes time to adopt and take into our everyday lifestyle that particular change. And that change can be accepted by your brain when it starts to realize that this is easier than what I was doing before.
That's true.
But if you put in a system that's making it more difficult, then clearly,
Resistance, big time.
so people versus process, that's
Yes, I think
X
I can
minus 1.
add to him
Yes,
from
Claire.
back in my business development days.
Yeah.
Back at Safaricom and
Yeah.
doing products, and I totally agree with you, Kevin. We had a rule that said, a rule of thumb: if you developed a product or you were working on something that was more than 3 steps, go back to the drawing board. It's too much, even for a customer to do. And I guess the same, like you're saying, falls for even your employees as well. Number one, and then number two, you talked to it, which is one of my passions, is culture. It
Culture?
needs,
That's
in the
what he
sense
said.
that
Yeah.
yes, it needs. He talked about in another sense that it needs to be intuitive.
Yeah.
And the minute it becomes, it seems complex, then it's not intuitive anymore. Then again, you run into trouble there.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, there's a bigger component of ensuring that even the culture is well studied before you just bring it in.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Lovely.
the process has to understand the area where it's supposed to be implemented. You can't bring in a process that works in Finland or it works somewhere in Alaska
Yes.
and then throw it into the sub-Saharan or Kalahari ecosystems. It's not
Yes.
going to work.
Yes, here.
No, you're right.
Agreed.
Because, I was talking to a certain CEO of a bank and I asked them, why is it that in the entire of last year, you opened more branches, in some, especially in the rural areas,
Yes.
Then he told me this, that there are some people whose belief is that they have to see that this is where my money is kept, though it's really not there. And they also want to go and talk to someone. That the moment you remove that brick and mortar, they will think, no, I cannot just keep my money, I don't know, in some digital thing I don't see. So there's a culture you must study, as you're saying, that must work. Thanks for that. Let's go to ROI, which is the biggest buzz every time CXers go to the table to say we need to adopt this. There's an ROI conversation that must be there. And Claire, maybe you could start us off by, how the struggle is. And we have seen some struggle coming up where people are saying we need to measure how true impact of intelligent CX is. I don't know how or what you can say in terms of metrics or indicators matters most so that we can help CXers when they go to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we talked earlier when we started and said that why are you doing all this? The crux of the matter is you want a certain outcome, and the outcome has economic benefit, and which speaks to ROI.
Yeah.
So I agree, it's a big thing. And when you talk about the struggle, I think the struggle becomes real when you either haven't trained yourself to be able to speak in that language, in terms of return on investment, and you don't have that experience. And I think the challenge as CX leaders is to train ourselves, first of all, in those spaces. And the reason I say that is I had the benefit of the reverse happening. So I come from a marketing background. doing CX, doing training, and then come all the way to the commercial teams, which is delivering revenue. And so when I stepped back into CX, it became real because I always had to talk about cost benefit. What's the benefit to the organization?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we do have some key core CX metrics that are broad that you could already use to track. So we have the familiar ones, and I'll start just from core, high level. You have your net promoter score, which is speaking to brand. Yeah, and your brand equity, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, that promoters, detractors, that's what it talks to. You have your satisfaction, which speaks to what we were saying earlier. How happy are they with what I am doing or what I'm offering, the offer? Does it make sense? Is there good product market fit? That's what satisfaction pretty much says.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you have effort score, which we were saying, is it easy? How efficient is it? How easy is it to do?
Yeah.
It talks to us. And then there's so many more other things you look at.
Okay.
However, when you come on this other side, we as CX leaders need to now train ourselves to learn what are the financial contributions of the processes we do, the initiatives we drive, the programs we run. And when it comes to intelligent CX, what I have since found is, much as you have those core metrics I've talked about, you need now to build in your journey-specific metrics. So that every journey you track will have a metric you build that talks to a key revenue KPI.
Okay.
So it could be revenue contributing, it could be measuring attrition, it could be measuring usage, it could be measuring penetration, which are all numbers that would get the interest of Exco, as it were.
Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, Kevin, as you come in, I think in our first podcast, we came to a conclusion that CXs must start thinking like CFOs.
Agreed.
In terms of the figures, everything else, and even the ROI. So, Kevin, I would like you to also bring it home more, because you're behind the text.
Yeah.
But probably an example. It's up to you to choose whether you can mention a name that would just really point out on how ROI was achieved, to ensure that we have had that customer loyalty, retention, business growth, anything that you saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the company called Blockbuster Videos or Blockbuster Entertainment?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Back in the day, in the 90s, where
The
you used to
movies
rent,
thingy, is it?
Yeah, you used to rent DVDs
Yes,
and stuff
yes.
like that. You know, how did that go out of business? Because Netflix came in. You know why Netflix came in? Because people complained to Blockbuster that you're charging me too much for me to have returned the DVDs by a day or two. You're charging me like $30, $40 if I delay my return by a day or two. A lot of people complained about this, that your charges are crazy. It's too much, it's too much, it's too much. Where one person picked up this he was the one who complained, and then he realized, you know what, I need to find a solution to this. And then he built Netflix.
Wow.
So Netflix came out of the complaint that was driven towards Blockbuster. Now, why I brought this up is because most of us in the ROI spectrum look at CX as a cost. Never does anybody look at it as a future opportunity. Netflix was a future opportunity through the complaints that came to Blockbuster.
Yeah.
If you can read into that element, I think it makes more sense that your complaint box is your actual opportunity R&D lab. If you invest to know what your customers' pain points are, you can build solutions, which in return is ROI. But if I have to break it down even more simpler to the event that ICX did recently, there was somebody called Sunny Pindra, I think. He spoke at that event, and he said, you are in business because you have a customer, and you have a customer because the experience is good with you. And by default, CX is ROI. You can't question, is CX bringing me ROI? You have ROI because you have a customer, and because their experience with you is a certain level is why you're even in business. So the element of existence of ROI in the CX industry shouldn't be a question at all. You are in business because of your customer. So your ROI is already there. How you're bettering it is maybe the key aspect that you want to look at. So if you go into it technically, I did a webinar, I think, a couple of weeks ago, on the same ROI in CX. Where when I was researching on topics to share and knowledge to share, all I came across is you just need to measure the cost per initiative or process or investment or in terms of an application that you're putting in. So, for example, you have a call center, you have 8 members now, you increased it to 10. Now, you increasing it by 2 more, you should exactly know what's the cost that you're bringing to the table to deliver better experience. If you can measure that, that will tell you your ROI that you're getting on the other side. So you measuring ROI in CX is you measuring the investment that you're making at every single step, initiative, application, whatever, throughout the journey. And that's the key. I'd maybe sum it up with one last example. We all know, I think, what a recommendation engine is.
Yes.
When Amazon started, this recommendation engine was a nice to have thing. Okay, it's nice to have. It's nice to have a chatbot on our website. It's nice to have maybe an automated IVR answering calls for our banking call center network, etc. I'm just giving you an example. Amazon thought it's a nice to have, but today 35 to 40% of Amazon's revenue is from the recommendation engine and not from anything else. So they understood that understanding the customer's behavior patterns, etc., is way more important than anything else as an application that you build, the logistics that you have, the service, the partners, and etc. This recommendation engine alone gives 35 to 40%
of their revenue. That's a good one.
Yes. Yes.
Looks like we'll need a part 2 here. But now let's look at the future. Let's look at the future outlook. 3, 4, 5 years from now. I don't know what you feel, Claire. How do you see AI automation transforming CX in East Africa?
In East Africa.
Yeah.
In Africa as a whole, most probably.
Yeah.
I think, how do I see it transforming Africa in the sense that we'll understand it better, and so there'll be better work processes in terms of not having siloed type situation, which is the mainstay now. We have independent departments that sort of work and do the best of their ability. I think in 3 to 5 years, you'll have CX as the owner. Ideally, they should be there, the bridge. They're the bridge to the entire chain, as it were, from understanding the customer at the beginning all the way to keeping them there, utilizing the service. So it makes sense for them to be the ones to bring the entire business together. And that's their rightful position and role. And that is how it will work. As that bridge owner and bearer. And we spoke to that at a recent leaders forum for CX in Kigali. That came up, and I think that should be a core mandate. What else will it look like? More contextualized African-grown solutions for people like Kavin, that we will be more open to engaging, such tech businesses on our continent to drive our growth. Right now, when people listen, like, what you talk to Intelligent CX, people are out there looking for solutions that were not built for us. They were not built for our market, where we have very many underserved communities digitally. They're speaking to some other different market. So I believe it'll also be looking at our homegrown tech, providers to build solutions that meet our needs as well. I think that's pretty much, when I scan what it will look like.
No, lovely, Claire. You've been accused a bit. You tech guys, you're not thinking about local context. I mean, you better build some local context tech that really reflects us. So I don't know what you see as well, how African organizations can ensure that they're building those solutions that reflect on local context, customer needs and trust. With a future, realistically.
Yeah, of course. If you're talking about 3 to 5 years, maybe. I'd like to narrow it down to just where we are, maybe the East African market. And then I'd like to maybe look at what I see in 3 to 5 years, given the space that I'm in and who I deal with, who I talk to on a daily basis. I would say in 3 to 5 years, if we can digitize, starting with the governments, the public sectors, the service delivery from that end, if that can be digitized, if that can be made intelligent, if that customer experience can be streamlined, the rest is all integration with that system. Remember, she talked about working in silos. Some of the best banks here in this part of the world, as good as any across the world, not going to say no. But what good is it if the bank is that good, but when I go to the public sector offices, it's completely a disconnect in terms of how everything else is done. It's still papers being carried around everywhere. So the customer experience aspect in 3 to 5 years revolves around leadership, governance, and the fact that implementation of these practices through tech or through consultation in whichever form as strategies has to go beyond your own egos, your legacy conversations that you want to have. And I'm coming from decision makers, I'm just coming from the perspective of people who have the power to make the change, have to think beyond their own egos, have to think beyond their own levels of what is it that they can bring to better the narrative for the customers coming in. And I think why I started off with the public sector is because the disconnect mostly is between the integration of these different departments or different functions of a society not coming together as one.
Okay.
So I go to a hospital. The hospital is nice, it's futuristic. I'm able to pay with card, mobile money, etc., etc. But when I'm trying to figure out my insurance, it takes 25 to 40 minutes for them to call an insurance company, get an approval, and then see and get a reverse phone call back, and then it's approved, you're done, okay, you go ahead. Now, if all of this was in one setup where I key in my national ID, and it knows this is my insurance provider, this is my limit, this is what it is. Done, done, done. In 5 minutes, you're approved. You go on to your next step. So because the insurance and the healthcare are not connected, and because the healthcare belongs to the government now, and a certain extent to the insurance also belongs to the government, now you see the silos are there.
Absolutely.
You're digitizing everywhere on your own, but are you bringing things together?
No.
So in 3 to 5 years, I would love to see this coming into play. Can we have a public transport system that allows you to pay with card? Just, if people have traveled in Europe or in other parts of the world, you get into a bus, you have your metro card, your travel card. You just tap on the...
And you're good to go.
And you're good to go. And it auto debits from your account and you just move on. Or if you've bought a monthly pass, you move around. It's as simple as that. We're still stuck with matatus. So the point that I'm trying to make, intelligent CX, as we call it, the experience element, comes from the top. And when the top understands what's there at the bottom is when you actually start doing things the right way. If you build the best banks and have Huduma centers that don't function, then it doesn't.
I think then you're going back to where we started, which was culture.
Exactly.
Culture. Transformation will only happen when culture shifts, changes. And thank you for taking me back to public service, because I think we have one of the best examples on the continent and in East Africa, which is Rwanda. You've taken me back to Kigali, and watching them take us through, their, a semblance of their citizen portal is what has now, like you said, the government has taken the lead, and therefore the other players have also, from the government's lead, decided to also make a digital shift that has driven digital change and transformation. So you're right. If government comes in a big way, and that is culture shift and transformation, then we begin to see it spreading elsewhere.
True. Well, the body moves where your head wants it to go.
Exactly.
So the head is what needs to.
Exactly.
I'm loving this. It has metamorphosed into something else, which is good. It's a great discussion. You know what I'm thinking? The examples you gave, I was even wondering, Are we stuck with the Matatu culture, or the Matatus are stuck with us?
us.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yes,
There's so many things to think about, culture, so many details. Anyway, we have to close because we need to allow guys who are watching to do something else. I just want to get your final thoughts. In fact, with no structured way, we're talking about humanizing this. So in your own thoughts, you're building, you're ensuring that we have a human touch. How do we ensure we have this balance? So what would be your final thoughts at random? Who wants to go first? Maybe he can go first and you can have the final word.
change.
Yeah.
Intelligence CX, the word intelligence comes from data.
Yeah.
Without data, you can't measure anything. And if you can't measure anything, you don't know whether it's right or wrong. If you don't know what's right or wrong, then you don't know whether it's intelligent enough. Because remember, when you're digitizing, it exposes your flaws in the most brutal manner. When you digitize something, when you automate something,
Yes.
it will expose your flaws in the most brutal manner.
Yeah.
So you need to know whether the data that you've acquired or you collected is relevant and accurate and relatable to you for you to action on a decision based on that data. That is where intelligence comes into play.
Yeah.
So when you can adopt that into CX practices, data relevant to CX, and that's relevant to the local culture, the local customs, the local know-hows of how business is done, only then can the customer experience delivered be intelligent.
Yeah.
So the data element is extremely important. We see, maybe a classic example would be, I traveled last to Ethiopia recently, and the city is flooded with electric cars. Flooded with electric cars, which is a good initiative.
Yeah.
But I've never seen one standalone recharge or electric, recharge stations. I don't know what it's exactly called, but places where you can just plug in and recharge your car. I've not seen many of those. Maybe they are building it. Maybe they're setting it up. It's to know how many to set up or how to set it up, versus getting a Tesla that can auto-update and recharge itself overnight. A Tesla car can actually update itself overnight when you're not using it. It does not just
That's a good one.
exactly. So, would a Tesla fit into this environment is what you need to decide.
Yeah.
What would work for you here is what's more important to know. And to know that, you need to have good data. And I think data acquisition has to start with the simplest forms possible.
Yeah.
Even if a simple Google form is what you're using to collect feedbacks from your customer. If you do it consistently and if you know you're getting the right data from it, from there you can transition to level 2, to level 3, to level 4. Don't go to level 5 and then ignoring level 1 and 2.
Yeah.
It's all going to fall apart, because if you ask me, if you automate something that's already stupid, it's going to get even more stupid. So
Double stupid.
yes. So that's
let's not do
my
that.
conclusion on Intelligence CX, maybe.
Lovely. Claire, get the last word
I
there.
think lastly, I would say just an emphasis that intelligence CX is like fine wine. When wine, the longer it stays, the longer it ages, the better it gets. Same thing here with your data. The more data points, the more you learn. The keyword here being learn. The more you learn, the better you tweak it, the better it gets. The more understanding we have. And the process goes on and on. It doesn't end. Why? Because we're human beings, and you talked to this earlier. We evolve. Our needs are going to be different and shift. With the changes in our environment, and that's just life, right? And so organizations need to learn that first, and come up with processes that will make them better at doing that. How? Using the people they have the right way, because intelligence CX has come to cut out, the processes that really don't require thought, that are more routine. Then the human can now focus on the human element, which is being able to look and understand how their customer is evolving, and how do they build for the next set of services that they need? How do they build for the next support they may need? What does that mean? I want to talk to the CX AI leader of the future, because I believe there are going to be new roles within the CX space for leaders as well. You're going to have a CX expert with an AI understanding that talks to analysis, that talks to understanding behavior, attitudes, EI, to be able to support the change, or it's going to fall flat.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would put out there, even as I continue to learn. But it's amazing. It's an amazing journey.
Fine wine. I still got stuck at that, but that's good. That's a very good one. Yeah. My goodness, Claire, thank you so much. Kevin, thank you so much for your time.
Cheers, it was a
Thank
pleasure.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was a pleasure. I know there's a lot more
great.
that we can
Yes.
speak about.
I can tell. I can tell.
It was, as you said, part 2 maybe.
There will be part 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah, let's whet our appetites next time. So make sure you tune in and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time. That has been our session on the CX Roundtable. Asante sana. My name is Maina Chege. See you next time.